Yeah, after this camera, we're gonna learn nothing about Bless you. Big deal. I would like to. Sorry, I'm worried most of the phone. Because he can. I'd rather teach school I just. I got nothing. That's what I'm saying. I was glad. Taking more classes. Just for shit to do. You're right. Don't do grad school. Didn't I show you the video? There you go. I know, it's terrible. Colors suck, but whatever. I'll look it up. That's all you need. Plus whatever these are.
Like I said, this is one of the more difficult ones to do. But we get a nice. You know why this is an important illustration?
Why?
Because it really shows how the Keynesians think. The big debate between the Keynesians and the classicals is about the shape of the average supply curve. What the Keynesians argue is that at the industry level, most of our industry is oligopoly, and we have sticky prices.
Yeah.
So that the implication is if you look at Keynesian literature, that these are academics who do research, look at their literature.
That's hysterical.
A lot of their research has gone in to prove that prices are sticky. They go out and they get prices of hundreds of big industrial items. Show that they're sticky. In the macro world, this would be GDP. And this would be the prices. Now, the active demand curve, there's no argument on active demand curve. All economists, left, right, center, and between, in the active demand curve, and the downward sloping curve is that. And we can derive it using ISLR.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
However, the Keynesians believe that prices are sticky. When you have sticky prices, the new Keynesians believe that the aggregate supply curve looks like this. Thus, you have some price deflator index now. So what the Keynesians argue, if you're at this point of GDP, and you have unemployment, one way to stimulate the economy is to shift the aggregate demand curve to the right. If you move that aggregate demand curve to the right, like this, then the aggregate demand curve will cross the aggregate supply curve further down the line. We're going here to y prime, and any increase in GDP means a decrease in unemployment. Now this works until you get to here. Until you try to go too far. And then you don't add on any more GDP, you see the average supply curve goes up, it's vertical. That's because they're constrained by capacity. Right? And this is what the Keynesians argue, and the question is, well, how do you get the aggregate demand curve to go to the right? How can the government do that? Right? There are two ways. One way is to increase government spending. Right? Another way is to decrease taxes. So what are they talking about right now? Because of the fiscal cliff.
Taxes.
The exact opposite.
The exact opposite. What they're talking about is going down this way or going up this way. In both cases, it's the wrong thing to do now.
Yeah.
Because we're in a recession. We got too much unemployment. It's suicide to do that. And the Congressional Budget Office pointed that out. They said, look, if you do any of these things, you're going to slow up the economy, get into a recession, you're going to aggravate the unemployment rate, and not only, that's what we call the fiscal cliff.
What do you think will happen?
Well, let's see why we're doing this.
Negative 3.8%.
Why do they want to do this? The reason why they want to do this is because there's a deficit.
In my opinion.
The deficit is equal to government spending minus taxes.
Yeah.
And they want to close that deficit. They have to close that deficit. Why do they have to close it? Because Congress voted that they have to close it that way.
So what about the Federal Reserve buying 90% of U.S. Treasury starting in 2013? How's that going to affect us?
What the Fed is doing right now, it's now moving from buying and selling short term to buying and selling long term. But it's keeping the same roughly amount of assets.
But it allows the Treasury to borrow for free, essentially.
Huh?
It allows the U.S. Treasury to borrow for free. So once Congress becomes aware of that, where's the restriction in government spending?
A basic problem is the law that says that we have to make this become equal. And that was done by Congress. Congress said, no, we can't have that debt. The long term is going to kill us. And what's politically motivated by the Republicans in Congress, because they don't like government spending, period. But most macroeconomists will argue that in the short term, if you have a recession, government spending is good. Maybe over the longer term, you don't want to keep having this. But as long as you have a recession in the short term, it's good to have a deficit. All right? However, when things get good and moving again, then you cut back. And then cut back on government spending when you have full employment. We get full employment when we have reached our, what we call our natural rate of unemployment, which is 6%. Right now, we were about 7.7. If we were to get down to 6%, we would be at full employment. We always have some unemployment because of people changing jobs. Can't avoid that. Now, I think what's going to happen is that after the holidays, not before, they'll come to grips with it. They'll wait till after the holidays, they'll all go sleep on it. They all want to get some political advantage out of it. But after the holidays, what will happen, there'll be some give on both sides. And they're going to do exactly what they shouldn't do. They'll reduce government spending, and at the same time, they'll raise some taxes, and they'll slow down the economy. It'd be better off if they did nothing, or got Congress to reverse itself on the law to balance the budget, and let the economy pick up steam, because if it picks up steam, you automatically get
Increase revenue.
more taxes, because more people are working and the economy is moving, you get a little more inflation, and the debt doesn't look so bad. You erode away the debt for cheaper dollars. Right? As long as you don't get too much inflation. But anyway, I think that's what's going to happen at the beginning of next year. We'll probably put some brakes on the economy, and everybody can be miserable about it. Unless we get lucky. And the way we can get lucky is that some of our export markets do well. For example, the Latin Americans are doing well. It's a big export market. Canada does well. It's our biggest trading partner. If China starts buying more of our stuff, that will be good for us. If we get some stimulus on our export markets, then there'll be some incentive for American transnational corporations to reinvest in themselves. And if they reinvest in themselves, with the economy to get moving again. The other good thing that could happen is that people start buying houses again. Some pent-up demand for housing. How many people here own their own house? Nobody. How many people own their own condominium? You're all renters?
Yeah.
Smart.
Would you like to own your own place?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Parents own one house.
No? Why?
Because the government's artificially creating the demand for housing.
If you buy your own house today, I've never seen a better time but get a mortgage. If you can get a 30-year fixed mortgage for less than 5%. I have never seen that in my lifetime. I've had mortgages up to 12% fixed mortgage. I've never had one less than 8%. The idea that you can get one now for less than 5% to me is amazing. What you do when you get a mortgage for less than 5% for 30 years, you're basically locking into your housing costs for 30 years at a very low rate. The only thing that can go up are the taxes on your residence. But they'll never go up as much as your rent. It'd be foolish if you're renting not to go out and buy something if you can buy something. Once that market takes off, once that starts heating up, it's going to play catch up. But if that happens, a lot of the unemployment that we get right now is from that market. Laid off people working domestically in the housing construction business. A lot of our unemployment. That would pull us out of it. That would really pull us out of it. I think that in about 5 years from now, once we turn that corner, we're going to start saying again, oh my God, we have a labor shortage. You know, in the 90s when we had a 4.5% unemployment rate, everybody's saying we have a labor shortage. I have a brother that's a full-bird colonel in the Army. He was a full-bird colonel in the Army at that time. And he said, we're really worried because we're getting into a strategic disadvantage. We can't find people at the levels that we need to maintain our security. And I think we're going to move back in that direction. We're going to move in that direction where we just won't have enough people to do all the things that we want to do. Right now, it doesn't seem that way. We're coming off a bad period. But when we do go back, we'll see how much. I've been through this before.
Why are those codes referred to as indifferent codes?
Sorry?
Are they indifferent codes, the codes that you just highlighted?
Sorry,
Are they referred to as indifferent codes, those codes there?
the different curves?
Yeah, the ships.
No, those are aggregate demand curves. But that whole idea comes out of this idea in microeconomics, sticky prices. Sticky prices, right? That's what I think. And that's why this type of exercise is useful because it leads, helps us understand macroeconomic thinking, the kinds of policies that we're facing. In the late 90s, we had exactly the same situation. We had a senator from Texas by the name of Phil Graham. And there was another senator by the name of London.
Just that.
Phil Graham was a bully in the Senate because he had a PhD in economics. And all the other senators believed what he said about the economy. And he pushed
Phil Graham.
Oh.
a reduction in the deficit. He said we have to do it over a period of about 3 years. We're going to reduce it each year by about $20 billion a year, something like that. And after about 3 years, we'll be down to 8. When the 3 years was up, it was about 1990, when the 3 years were up. And guess what happened? Is that we reduced it. We reduced the deficit a lot. We didn't completely eliminate it like we predicted. what we call the recession. And the president at that time was George Bush the first. And he had a recession on his hands. Right? And he was up for re-election. And it's very hard for the president to get re-elected if you're in a recession, especially if you were the president where it would have done now. Right? And then we had this guy Ross Perot, another Texan. He stuck his nose into it. He said, they're doing it all wrong. And he got up on television and started drawing what I do all the time, show you the difference between export and import. We have a big gap. Right? And that's what's causing the problem. And he had a lot of very conservative Republicans leave the Republican Party and vote for his party. The Republican Party got split. They couldn't get enough votes to win the election. And Bill Clinton squeaked right in there. He was
Not the only ones that ever said that, okay.
Yeah.
and then we had Bill Clinton for 8 years. That's how we got, it was 92, I think.
Well, Perot was 92 and 96, right?
Right?
He was both 92 and 96?
Didn't he get 11% 92?
So if it wasn't for Perot, then Clinton never would have got elected?
Yeah.
Yep.
He took
Ross
11%.
Perot hadn't split the Republican Party. I had an uncle that was, I have an uncle, a very conservative guy. You know, he was mad at me for staying in the Republican Party. He said, you should be the other way, with Perot. He's the only one who, and Perot had a lot of people convinced. And that's what happened. Republicans lost. Now since then, Perot got disappeared, got out of the I've never recalled the party. Does anybody remember recall the party?
The third party, the independent party?
The what?
Well, it was just an independent party?
No, it was called something else.
No, he like created his own, I mean,
He created a new party.
Yeah.
Got the name. But they're gone.
funded his entire
So,
campaign.
but we're always with this problem. The Republicans are always pushing to balance the budget. They mainly do it because they don't like government spending. But you don't want to balance the budget all the time, not when it's going to cause a recession. It's the wrong thing to do. The best thing for any country is growth. As long as you got growth of GDP, you generate revenue.
The Reform Party.
Reform Party.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you for the next one is ISLM. We didn't do that. We didn't do that.
Is that gonna be on the final?
Huh? These are the kind of skills you need to do the final.
Okay.
Because I can't give you things on the final that you have in your computers. I have to give you things that where you learn how to put things in. This is a good exercise. If you do all of this, you have the skills for microphone.
So are we not doing stuff on the computer for the final?
Sorry?
I don't understand. You just said you're not gonna give us, what did you said something
I
about?
don't want to give you a final where you just pull out a problem out of your computer and plug the new problem in, just like change it and do the answer. I want you to be able to formulate the problem. Otherwise, you didn't really learn that much.
If your teacher was something you would account
I don't know.
Just why did we I don't know if there's any notebooks or something.
You missed so much. You're done.
I love that. What do you think we're gonna get this guy? What are the figures names?
And this is what we call an ISLM.
No, I deserve to be. How does that look familiar?
Now, in this problem, you learn how to derive the aggregate.
That's fine. No, I gotta be restricted.
But it also, what's involved in this problem is solving for the equilibrium interest rate and the equilibrium GDP. And in this, when you see these curves, you understand what happens when you increase government spending or decrease taxes, or vice versa. It's very clear. So I'm going to do some of this first by hand, the algebra part by hand, then we'll plot it. And we'll see why these things are important. Because most people talk about this, think about it only from faith, what they got from their mentor. You can't spend money on the government. You can't pay taxes. But they don't understand why, how these things really work. We'll start over here. Well, what we're assuming here is that exports equals imports, so they don't affect the national accounts. They just cancel each other out. We were like that for many years in the U.S. When I first started studying economics in the 50s, trade was a very small portion of our whole economy. And people neglected it. They wrote equations like this. But we start by putting together this, in this economy, spending balance has to be identically equal to monetary policy. And then we'll be in general equilibrium. The economy will be in general equilibrium. So we'll work on the spending balance first. That's identified by the National Account Center. Y is equal to C plus G plus I. Now, we have some equations for this. I'm going to change this slightly. We can do it like that. Here we're assuming that the marginal tax rate is 0.3, 30%. Well, consumption, we'll substitute in consumption. 460. Y is equal to 460 plus 0.9 times 1 minus t. Now 1 is 1, t is 0.3, so that's 0.7. Times 1. So that takes care of the consumption part. Now we'll add in the government part, which is 900. And then we'll add in the investment part, which is given by this equation. That's the interest rate. $10,000. It's 2,000 minus 10,000. Now we have everything in. So now we'll say y is equal to 460 plus 900 plus 2,000, all one big constant. And then this is 0.63y and minus 10,000 R. So let's add these up. 460, 900, 0, 6, 9, 13, sorry, 3360. $1.63Y minus 10,000. Now, we want to, the graph that we're going to make will have R on the vertical axis and Y on the horizontal axis. Y is GDP. We'll be graphing something like this. There'll be a GDP over here. And over here we have R, which is the interest rate, the real interest rate. And we're going to first get this equation, we call it the IS. that we're working on. So now we'll take this 1,000 R from the other side, which is 3360.
10,000
Plus 0.63Y minus Y. Now I'm going to put these two together. This is equal to 3360 minus, and we take 1.00 minus 0.63. 7, 0.37.
You just got the numbers.
And now we just get the IS equation. R is equal to 3.36 minus
Just 2 ones.
0.37 divided by 1,000. 1, 2, 3.
It's 10,000.
I know, it's 10,000. I think that's 10,000.
10,000.
Oh, 10,000. Put that 0 over here. Would be a 0.33.
You see that?
Right, 10,000 divided by 3360.
3336.
0.33. So that's our IS equation. Now on the other side, we'll work on the LM equation. We argue that the money supply will have to equal the money demand. So we look at the money supply. Money supply is like this. Interest rate like that. Money demand like that. Over here we get the equilibrium interest rate and GDP. Where money supply equals money demand. So let's put so for the LM, we'll have, feel like Groucho Marx here, going back and forth.
It's basically going to be our
We
final
got the
for
money supply is equal to 900.
yesterday's class.
Yeah, that smells like this looks familiar.
Yeah.
I agree with the man.
It's equal to 0.1175Y